Not many people can turn a childhood passion into a career. Tonight, we meet a man who's turned his hobby, collecting World War I uniforms, into a business, which is literally busting at the seams. Tom Forbes reports.
Every year at the 11th hour of the 11th day, Ian Spark attends the Beenleigh RSL's Remembrance Day service.
God, present!
For almost 50 years, his passion for the khaki and pageantry of the military has not faded.
I started collecting when I was about 6 years old, and also started watching the Anzacs TV. TV had just started out in the bush, and I started watching them and thinking, geez, amazing history.
It started with a few uniforms and quickly grew. The costumes and the equipment are now jammed into 8 storage sheds, 5 shipping containers and 2 garages.
We'd be guessing, and that's a very rough but fairly accurate guess. I would say that it's certainly over 60,000 items, and I'd say it's much more than that.
Ian Spark's passion has translated into expertise and is in high demand. He's a costume and production designer who also works as a military advisor.
You can try to keep the helmet like that. See that little bit there? Keep that about where your nose is.
Over the years, he's worked on a large number of films, including Wolverine, featuring Australian actor Hugh Jackman. Ian's eldest son, Luke, shares his father's passion and has followed him into the family business.
Yeah, I'm after a Yank canteen with a bullet hole. I'm sure it's more difficult for Luke sometimes than it is for me. No, he's an excellent young man, not just because he's my son. I'm lucky. I've got 5 amazing sons, and 3 of them are working more and more into the business.
It can be difficult sometimes, but it's good. It's a good working environment. I think being family can have its disadvantages, but definitely has its advantages where you can bounce a lot more off each other.
Their work takes them around Australia and overseas. Both agree that supplying costumes and military expertise is a fun way to make a living, but there are challenges.
There's been a fair few times where actors have said, I don't want to wear that, and I've said, well, okay, my professional opinion, you should wear this. I've said my piece, and it's up to you and the director to work it out.
Keeping an actor happy at work is important, but so is authenticity. It's the little things which make a period costume or scene complete. For example, a shower scene from a 1940s film wouldn't be the same without carbolic soap. And a Japanese war movie would never be the same unless you had authentic Japanese war biscuits. And of course, a lovemaking scene from a World War II movie wouldn't be the same without prophylactics. As time goes by, the value of original World War I uniforms increases. They're now being preserved and replicas are made for actors and extras.
And this is the one of the uniforms, one of the many uniforms worn by Brendan Cow when he portrayed Captain Woodward for Beneath Hill 60.
Whatever happens, we need to hold our line. From here on in, it's do or die.
Working within the confines of Australia's military history has been a rewarding experience, but the Sparks are looking towards foreign battlefields.
We've had it covered for so long that I'm actually enjoying going out and making sure we've got all other nations. Like, I'm a big fan of the German World War II uniforms, World War I German, American. I love all that stuff because we've got Australian down pat so much, we can do it in our sleep.
The father and son are also planning to make their own World War I feature film. 34th Battalion has a budget of $15 million. The Sparks say they've raised half of the money needed.
It's a big budget, high octane action film, and I think Australia really needs to have something like that at the moment. So it's more on the lines of Private Ryan, Band of Brothers, The Pacific, than say Beneath Hill 60 or Gallipoli, which is more social dramas.
If their movie doesn't get off the ground, Ian Sparks and his band of sons will still have an audience on Remembrance Day.
We do it for a few reasons, but the number one reason is to remind people that these were real people.
So today we remember those servicemen who lost their lives in all wars and armed conflicts of the last century.
Guard! In single file! Quick! Fight!